Hey y'all, welcome back to the Dancing Italian Urban Farm, or welcome if you are new. My name is Leslie, and today, we're back in the garden. We're going to be talking about gardening in Mississippi in the late fall and winter. What to grow, how to prep your beds, and how to keep your space vibrant even when the days get shorter. Now, a lot of people think gardening ends when summer vegetables fade, but here in Mississippi, the season just changes gears. From hardy greens and cold-tolerant herbs to bright winter flowers, there's still plenty happening in the garden through December, January, and February. So, grab your gloves. Let's dig into soil prep, cool season veggies, flowers, herbs, and how to make your garden thrive all year long. Okay, let's get started. First of all, Mississippi's mild winters mean we can garden nearly year-round. We might get a few frosty nights, but daytime temperatures are often ideal for cool season plants. According to the Mississippi State University Extension Service, our long growing season and moderate winters make it easy to enjoy success with both warm and cool season crops almost all year. Fall and early winter bring less pest pressure, more rainfall, and cooler soil temperatures, perfect for leafy greens, hardy herbs, and cool weather blooms like pansies and violas. It's also a great time to give your soil a break from summer stress. You can add compost or plant a cover crop to restore nutrients, mulch around plants, especially those perennial ones you want to keep all year. Add amendments, test your soil, all of those things. Now is the time to do it. And maybe most importantly, it's a quieter season. You get to observe your garden, plan, and enjoy the rhythm of slower growth. Start with soil health. Test your soil for pH and nutrient levels if you haven't this year. Late fall is a good time to amend for the next season. The Extension Calendar recommends tasks such as fertilizing acid-loving plants, treating chlorosis, and more. Remove spent summer crops and their debris. This helps reduce disease and pest carryover into the cool season. Add organic matter, compost, well-rotted manure, leaf mold, to increase soil structure and fertility. Consider raised beds or at least improved drainage. For winter vegetable gardens, the extension video mentions that raised beds benefit by giving improved drainage. Mulching around perennials, shrubs, and beds helps moderate soil temperature and moisture through the cooler months. For example, mulch is broadly useful for these purposes. Plan for your bed rotation. If you've had heavy summer crops, maybe rotate into a cool season bed or plan to let it rest or recover with a cover crop. This is also when you can plan where to put your herbs and flowers. Group cold hardy herbs near the kitchen for easy harvesting. Add flowers like violas, calendula, and ornamental cabbages near pathways for color and fragrance. Think about which herbs or blooms can companion plant with your veggies. For example, dill and parsley near cabbage, or calendula around kale to attract pollinators when temperatures rise again. Now, let's talk about what thrives right now in Mississippi. First up, vegetables. You need to plant cool, hardy, cool weather vegetables like kale, collards, chard, spinach, carrots, beets, radishes, and broccoli. These all do beautifully through the late fall. Succession planting keeps harvests coming. Start another row of lettuce or arugula every 2 weeks. Now let's talk about some flowers. Pansies and violas are stars of the southern winter. They bloom for months, tolerate frost, and fill containers with color. Snapdragons, sweet alyssum, and dianthus also hold up well in Mississippi's winters. For shrubs, camellias bloom from November through February, bringing soft pinks and whites when little else is flowering. You can also add ornamental kale or cabbage for texture and color in your beds. I also like to plant calendula and get a second round of it, or even a third or fourth round of it, because I know that I can get more blooms before it gets too cold. And I'll harvest those blooms and use them for all sorts of wonderful things. Now let's talk about some herbs. Cold tolerant herbs like parsley, cilantro, chives, thyme, sage, and rosemary all handle Mississippi's winter weather very well. In fact, my rosemary bushes have made it through at least one, if not two, Mississippi winters, and they are thriving. My oregano has also made it through a couple of winters, and it is still thriving as well. So plant the herbs, give it a try, cover it when it's going to be too cold. See if you can just let it come back year after year. I love it. Now, thyme and sage are semi-evergreen here, and they love the cooler months. My thyme just keeps coming back every single year. Now, cilantro. Well, cilantro actually prefers the cold. It bolts quickly in our summer heat. So this is the time for it to shine. Now is the time to plant your cilantro. I like to plant it, harvest it, and dry it so I keep it dried. I know fresh is what most people desire. But hey, I'm going to do what I got to do in order to have herbs I grow in my own garden. Now, you can also plant winter hardy perennials like oregano and lemon balm, which will establish strong roots before spring. Like I said, my oregano patch has been here for a while. It is going strong. And I have harvested from it a lot. Plant herbs and flowers alongside your vegetables to maximize space and encourage beneficial insects once temperatures warm back up. This is so important because pest pressure, especially in the climate I live in, is horrendous in the summertime. I lost most of my tomatoes this past season due to pest pressure. Even though it's cooler, gardens still need attention. Water, pest and disease monitoring, weed control, and protection from any early freezes. Watering, while not as heavy as summer, root systems still need moisture, especially if the winter is dry. Mulch helps retain moisture, as mentioned earlier. Pest and disease control. Many pests or diseases can persist in debris. Clean up the beds, remove diseased leaves, and inspect your plants regularly. Cover crops and debris removal helps reduce overwintering sites. I need to do this in my garden. I need to remove all of my summer debris. Protection. When the first frost approaches, use row covers, cold frames, or other season extension tools. The concept of cold frame is useful for extending the season in cooler climates and can also be adapted for Mississippi for early spring and late fall. Mulching and insulating. For perennials, shrubs, newly planted trees, etc., mulching helps tremendously. Also for container plants and less hardy plants, you might consider moving indoors or providing extra protection. Signage and care. Label your beds. Keep a calendar of what's planted and when, and update as you harvest or replant. Use a garden journal. Example, one blogger uses a garden calendar for January planting in Mississippi. This is essential, or you're going to forget what you planted where and when you planted it. Cleanup. Late fall is a good time to prune faded annuals, cut back spent plants, and prepare beds for winter. For example, the extension calendar lists tasks like cutting back annuals, disbudding camellias, etc. Soil coverage and green manure. Consider planting a cover crop or leaving some beds fallow with mulch to protect soil structure and fertility through the winter. Pests. They're fewer, but not gone. Slugs and caterpillars can still appear, so check under leaves. Harvesting. Make sure you clip your herbs frequently to encourage bushy growth and prevent them from going woody. Clean up spent blooms and vegetables and compost what's healthy. Discard diseased materials. Okay, here's a bonus idea. Tuck a few containers with herbs or flowers near your doorway. Easy to access and lovely to look at through winter. Plus, if need be, it's easier to move them indoors on those really cold nights, which we can get a few here in Mississippi of those really frigid nights. And it's important to protect your plants during those times. Okay, let's shift from vegetables to the broader garden. What about ornamentals? Native plants in winter interest. Many native and adapted plants shine in winter in Mississippi, like early blooming shrubs, winter berries, evergreen ground covers. Use winter colors, camellias, hollies, winter berries, ornamental grasses. These provide color, texture, and structure when many annuals are spent. You can also integrate edible ornamentals. For example, Swiss chard can be both ornamental and edible. I love planting Swiss chard in my garden. Plan your garden so that you have continuous interest, shifting some beds to ornamentals, planting pots for patio interest, using mulch, leaves, and decor to carry through the season. For late fall planting of ornamentals, ensure they have adequate root establishment before cold sets in. Use mulch and protect plants that might be marginal in your zone. For landscape management, late fall is a time to plant shrubs, so they establish roots before the spring flush. Also, it's the time to remove leaves or use them for mulch or compost. Consider integrating your vegetable garden into the broader landscape. Blend beds, containers, and edible ornamentals so your garden remains visually appealing in late fall and winter rather than simply hibernating. Some other examples of native plants that you can plant during this time are American holly, beautyberry, and oak leaf hydrangea. These add structure, berries, and texture through the dormant season. We've already talked about camellias. They are a Mississippi classic. Their glossy leaves and long bloom period provide beauty and food for early pollinators. Winter flowering herbs like rosemary can attract bees on warmer days, offering nectar when little else blooms. Evergreen herbs such as sage, thyme, and rosemary double as landscape plants. They're hardy, fragrant, and visually interesting. Mix winter flowers like violas and alyssum with silverleaf herbs like sage or dusty miller for a soft cottage-style winter look. Add ornamental grasses like muhly grass, fountain grass, or native switchgrass for movement and contrast. Leave some seed heads on coneflowers or black-eyed Susans to feed birds and provide texture through the winter. Think of this as the winter tapestry of your garden. It's less about growth and more about color, structure, and supporting life until spring. So let's recap. Prep your soil and beds now. Amend, clean up, mulch. Select appropriate cool season crops, kale, collards, Swiss chard, carrots, etc., and plant them in the correct window for your region. Maintain through the cooler months. Water, protect, monitor pests and diseases, cover if needed. Include ornamentals and landscape interest so your garden doesn't completely go dormant. Use native plants, winter color, in containers. Keep a plan. Note what's planted when, harvest window, succession planting, and get ready for spring. For your winter garden plan, here's a simple checklist. Map out beds. Which go to cool season vegetables, which to ornamentals, and which ones to rest. 2. Order seeds and transplants for fall-winter crops. 3. Amend soil and mulch by late fall. 4. Plant quick maturing crops for late fall harvest. Plant longer maturing ones for full winter harvest if timing allows. 5. Monitor and protect. Keep your garden active even though temperatures have dropped. 6. Use harvested crops like kale, chard, and carrots to keep the kitchen full through the season. Gardening in the late fall and winter in Mississippi may look different from the high-speed summer season, but it's full of potential. Fresh greens when others aren't harvesting, quieter time for planting, and a beautiful garden space that works even as days shorten. Alright guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, could you do me a solid and give me a thumbs up? Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And I'll see you next time. Until then, happy gardening and enjoy those cool season harvests.